my role has evolved into an ad hoc host, I guess you might say, to it. And but I've been here since the first one, and I came to the first festival not knowing it was a festival. I came because Roy Rogers was going to be here. And I was living in Mammoth at the time, and I said to the boss, we were closing up the pack station for the winter season, and I said, hey, I'm going to Lone Pine tomorrow. He says, no, we got work to do. You can't go there. I said, I'm going to Lone Pine. Roy Rogers is going to be there. I didn't even know what he was doing there, but I just knew he was there. And as a kid, I missed seeing him as a kid because he came to my the theater in Waterbury, Connecticut, and I didn't get to go. And I was devastated. And so anyway, I said, I'm not missing this opportunity. And I came, and I got to meet Roy, and he was just Roy Rogers. He was just Roy Rogers. This was prior to him. His health started to get compromised after that, but he looked so good. I mean, just dressed in a beautiful suit and a white hat, and he dedicated the plaque out on Movie Road. And you know, that was the first festival. It was called the Sierra Film Festival then. It became the Lone Pine Film Festival after that. But and I'm going, wow, this is so cool. And I got to meet him because my boss kind of knew a lot of the people who were involved in it, because Lauren Janes, who was Steve McQueen's stunt double, knew my boss. In fact, my boss was standing there, I'm standing next to him, and Lauren comes up and he goes, hey, Lou, how are you? This is Lou Rozier, who owned Mammoth Lakes Pack Outfit. Because when they made Nevada Smith, our outfit, which I didn't know, supplied all the livestock for it. They supplied all the horses and stuff like that. And Lauren, knowing where good food was all the time, no matter, he's a stuntman, they know where the good food is. He knew that the food at the pack station was better than the commissary, so he would show up there for dinner every night. So he got to know the people pretty well. And I'm standing there and going, who is this guy? Da, 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 da. Anyway, so Lou introduced me to Lauren, and Lauren and I became really, really fast friends from that moment on. And we're both skiers, and we were kindred spirits from that moment on. And so he continually encouraged me. He says, well, you got to come back next year and, you know, just come and hang out with me and his wife at the time. And I wrote a poem, and so every year, for the first couple of years, I came as an entertainer. And then all of a sudden, because I have a gift of gab, as you can tell, and they said, can you do this? And Dave Holland would say, can you do this? And I said, yeah, you know, it's just, if it requires me to talk, I can do it. And so it's like that frog in warm water thing, you know, and the next thing you know, oh, there's Larry, he's the host, and he's the this, and he's the that, and you better introduce the movie, and do the panel, and do the, and it just became October's journey of contentment, as we say. It's, so, long answer to a good question. Closing Campfire, right, which started as a rap party after the first festival. I wasn't there at that. At that campfire, the first one. Well, actually, it started as a private rap party for the festival. And so the second year, they said, "Hey, why don't you hang out and do some poetry at the campfire thing?" I said, "Oh, that's my forte. You know, it really is. I mean, I'm a campfire entertainer." And so I did that, and they said, "Wow, that was really cool." And then all of a sudden we said, well, why don't we, well, we're going to let people know that we're doing this campfire. Because the first campfire they had, you know, they had about, well, I think they had about 30 volunteers. And then, so over the years, I mean, heck, we've had as many as 150 people out there for campfire, closing campfire. And so, because Monday's a holiday, so a lot of people will stay over on Sunday. In fact, we added, in the last couple of years, we added Monday tours because the people are here. So we've got a couple of Have Gun Will Travel, I think, tours on Monday because people are here and they want to do something, so it's good. And the RVers, they don't care. They can stay anywhere, you know. They'll stay forever. And people will stay. They'll come for the festival, get a taste of what's going on or see something, and then do their own tours out in the Alabamas. Why? Because the rocks don't move. You know, they're there all the time. We try to tell people, look, yeah, it's a film festival and all that sort of stuff, but you know, the roads are open. Anytime you want to come up here, just take a drive back. And we have in the museum, we have a lot of pamphlets on driving tours that you can drive along. And then we've got Dave Holland's on location in Lone Pine video and all that sort of stuff. So people can do their own film, you know, do their own film festival if they want to. So we ain't never going away. It ain't gonna happen. Actually, you know, everybody talks about Dave Holland, Dave Holland, Dave Holland. But Carrie Paul was the driving force behind this festival. And being the artist that she was, you know, she painted the Eastern Sierra, you know, most of her life, and then because of her association with Spainhours and knowing that family and the ranching families and knowing that there was a lot of film work that was done, and she was involved with that film work, she said, you know, we should do a film festival of some kind. And Dave Holland was a film nut also, and Dave, just on his own, would go out and try to find these locations and stuff like that. And so she said, well, we could do this, you know. And she said, so make a few phone calls, and and that first film festival, they got blown away because they advertised it a little bit, and they said, oh yeah, you know, if we can get a couple of hundred people to come out here for that. And I think at that dedication with Roy Rogers there, I think they had close to 600 people there. And they looked at each other and went, uh-oh, I think we've got something here. I think we've got something here. And Carrie said, yeah, we do. And she was the one. Dave would run off into the trees and in the bushes and try to take pictures and everything. But Carrie was the one who kept him steady, kept him saying, well, let's stay focused on this. Yeah, we've done a lot of movies. You know, we're doing a film festival now. This is not your backyard, you know, deal. And so she was the good, steady in array. And also, you know, between the two of them, they kept the thing right on track and everything, and she was able to, a lot of times if Dave was having trouble connecting with somebody, he turned Carrie on it, because she could be very persuasive when she wanted to be, and she just enjoyed seeing all the people come to Lone Pine. And our early stars really were so enamored that we went and got them, like Pierce Lydon. You know, Pierce Lydon, you know, he was the bad guy in so many movies. And, you know, in fact, he told the people, look, when I come on, just boo me. It makes me feel better, you know. And he was so appreciative. He says, I thought I'd been forgotten. Yeah, get him on the phone and, you know, knowing friends of friends. And that's what has allowed us to bring these people here is the movie people. It's a community, and they talk well about themselves. And so you start talking to the directors and the ADs who became directors because of their work in Lone Pine. You know, all those people who started in the sand and said, look, you know, you go and find me a bay horse that, you know, that this guy can ride, and that AD is going around town all night long trying to find that horse. But they learned their craft here, and they were very appreciative of it. So when you call, and then once somebody comes to the festival and they realize, wow, these folks treat me really nice. They really are into that. Our fans are pretty smart. They come to see these movies. They get surprised a lot of times, but they come to say, I'm going to go see the place where Randolph Scott, you know, did Tall T. You know, and because that's a real good, and Bud Bedecker, you know, he's one of my favorite directors, and you know, and da 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 da, and that's, our fans are pretty knowledgeable what they do, and our docents are even more knowledgeable. So, but what happens is the stars, the celebrities, will tell each other, go to Lone Pine, you know. That's how we get people like Gregory Peck, and that's how we get people like Ernest Borgnine and, you know, Jack Palance and, you know, Roy Rogers and Dale Evans and all these people. Why? Because they know they're going to get treated well. They know it'll be a very nostalgic trip for them, and they just really love it. You know, they really do. You know. Gregory Peck, when he came up here, because he did Yellow Sky, and he came up here. Well, Jim Rogers, who was a patron saint of the museum. He said, "I'll come up if you give me a big donation to the I think it was the UCLA Film Library or something like that." Anyway, so Jim wrote him a check, and they brought him up here on a jet, private plane, and that sort of stuff. And he was supposed to come in, get the check, ride out. We call that Wells Fargo. Get in, ride the money, get the money, and ride out. But we took him up to. We used to have what's called the Pheasant Club up here. We used to do a breakfast up there. We took him up there, and he started waxing nostalgia and about all the stuff that he'd done up there. And I don't think he left till dark. He was just, and that's what happens with a lot of them. Ernie Borgnine came up here and he said, "Anytime you guys want me to come, I'll come." And so somebody quizzed him and said, "You really like it up here?" He said, "Yes." I'll tell you the story. He said, "I auditioned for the part of Marnie in my hotel room at the Dow Villa Hotel. And I got that part. That was where my audition was." And he said, he won an Academy Award for it. "So you think I don't have a soft spot in my heart for Lone Pine?" He says, "Guys, I'll come anytime you ask me." He was such a fun-loving guy. I mean, he come into town. I told a story, I think, the other night. But we had him as Grand Marshal to the parade, right? And so we had the Bishop High School band behind the car, right? He stops the car, goes, grabs the bass drum guy from the band, puts him in the back of the Cadillac, and he's going down the road beating the drum. And he was just a wonderful, wonderful, and all of our celebrities. But the thing we try to emphasize is that it's on location in Lone Pine. We are not, and I can say this and I'll say it on camera, we are not a celebrity-driven film festival, okay? We have a lot of celebrities, we have great ones, but the film festival is the rocks, the locations. So we tell people, if you're not going out and getting your boots dusty, you're missing the whole point of the festival, okay? Because it's the only festival in the world that you can do this, okay? So over 400 feature films and I think over 800 television spots of varying things and commercials. More movies, television shows, and commercials have been filmed in and around Lone Pine than any other outdoor location in the world. Every car company in the world has been here. They love the Portal Road. I mean, one of the biggest Ford commercials ever done was done here when they built the big scaffold and everything. But everybody's been here. Dewar's commercial, liquor. That was a liquor company, Dewar's. It's a whiskey, I guess. Yeah, Dewar's whiskey. I mean, they spent spent $1 million doing a commercial here. You watch. The little Annie Oakley series, all this. I mean, but the thing is, you do see Lone Pine on your TV every day, every single day, and even in the modern times, because of the car commercials and the various commercials that are shot here. And I always thought, ooh, a little Lone Pine shot in there, and you say, wow, that shot lasted about a second, and the production value on that thing was probably $500,000 or something because they went somewhere else. But so that's still happening. When Quentin Tarantino came in here and did Django, and he's a real film buff. He knows his stuff. And so when we came in the museum and started looking around, and then he said, yeah, he was very enamored with that. And so that's why the tooth wagon is out here, He said, "You guys want that wagon?" I said, "Yeah, we'll take that, here." And he says, "I'll be back. I'll do something else here." Yeah. And I was telling the people this morning, the reason the movie companies like this place is because it's fairly easy setups for outdoor locations. You can go out there and set your camera somewhere, take a shot, and then move the camera 6 degrees, and you got a whole entire new shot, and you don't have to do a whole bunch of production work to get, something new. Many of those old westerns, they film them going up one side of the canyon and move the camera over here and film them coming down the canyon, and that saves a lot of money in the business. In the old days when they were sending dailies down, these guys worked really hard to get it right the first time. because the light spectrum changed so much here. If they'd say, oh, you need to reshoot that, and you'll see it in some of the old, especially the Hoppy movies, the Hopalong Cassidy series, you'll see them riding through, and all of a sudden you get a little bit of a glitch, and all of a sudden there's a bunch of clouds in the sky, and you go, oh, okay. But in today they'll just CG that out and do that, as opposed to, well, we're on hold. Why? I've got a cloud. We're on hold. We've got contrails or something like that. It's America While I Love Her. The John and I met. Oh gosh, going way back. Let's see, 80. Would have been about 86, 87, at the Sonora Film Festival over in Sonora, California, and we were, like Lauren James, we were kindred spirits from the moment we met. The way we met, we were judges at a poetry contest that they were hosting there, and both of us looked at each other and went, "We can't find a winner. This is not good stuff," And but anyway, John would hold court here for which he could forever. John had more stories, but John Mitchum had more screen credits than Robert Mitchum. Yeah, a lot more. Because he's a character actor, you turn on Dirty Harry and you see him, or you'd see, somewhere in Paint Your Wagon, or whatever it may be, or Real Lobo and everything, and all of a sudden John, because he looked nothing like his brother, for those who don't know, but he was a great character actor, such a talented man. He was a great singer. Yeah, had a beautiful, beautiful baritone singing voice. I turned the TV on the other day. I called his daughter Cindy, and I said, I saw your dad this morning on Twilight Zone up in Lone Pine, and he was just an absolutely wonderful guy. And the album that he did, it's an interesting story. A lot of folks know it, but he went to Forrest Tucker at the time and said, would you be interested in recording this? And he said, well, let me see what you got here. And he read through some of the poems and stuff like that. And he said, he says, that's not me. I said, I don't think Duke. And after he'd recited the poem for it, and Duke was standing right there, and Duke said, I'll do it. And that was the only album that John Wayne ever recorded, was I Am America, or the America While I Love Her. And after 9/11, that album got a real resurgence, from a patriotic standpoint. But John, prolific writer, great stuff, funniest guy you want to know. And the reason he used to do the Sunrise Tour, and that was his deal, that was his gig. And so, because he and I were, I go out, you start hanging around with John Mitchum, and you'd end up, John, I'm going to bed. And so you'd end up trying to go to bed 6 or 7 times, because and he always had court. He held court in the lobby of the Dow Hotel, just sit there all night long, and then he'd say, well, hey, it's gonna be sunrise here. Let's go up to the hills, And the Sunrise Tour evolved from not the fact that just the fact that John was up there and doing something. And everybody said, hey, Mitchum's up there in the morning. Let's go see what's going on. And it became a regular tour, and that's my main gig here. Is I do the Sunrise Tours. I inherited those from John. Yeah. Well, I want to make sure that people know that our big fundraiser for the film festival is in June. It's always the first Saturday in June, and we set up a full sit-down tablecloth dinner up in Lone Ranger Canyon, and we do a concert in the rocks, and we'll put 500 people in the canyon. And we've had everybody there, from the Beverly Hills Philharmonic to Tex Ritter, and all, you name it, every kind of entertainment you can make. And it's an amazing, because we put lights in all the rocks up there, and it's a pretty spectacular evening, and that's our big fundraiser. But right now we're also starting post-COVID. That hit us pretty hard as far as closing the museum for a while, and we did a virtual film festival, but we're back. And so this museum that we're sitting in right now, right behind me, is the west wall, and it's going to be Westward Ho, the museum. Okay, this wall comes down or opens up, and we're going to add 6,000 square feet to the museum, because we've got so much memorabilia now that we just can't, we don't have any place for it. We can't archive it. And so, and we have, that land is behind us, it's ready to go. The building itself is sitting behind this wall here. It's there. And so we'll start, we have to pour the pad and the foundations and offsites and all that stuff. But that fundraiser is starting right now, this film festival now. So we built this museum on donations. People, you know, nickels and dimes and bake sales and you name it and all that sort of stuff. And Jim Rogers initially said, if you guys can buy the land, I'll build the building for you. And he did. But he, I think he didn't really think we could do it, because this used to be Department of Water and Power land from Los Angeles, and they have never sold a piece of land to a private entity ever. So this was the first time. So everyone was watching what we did. It had to go through a lot of hoops and political jargons and everything, but it got done. Because most of the land around here is, a good portion of it is leased land from the Department of Water and Power. So to sell this land to a private entity for the museum was a real big deal. I mean, we had everybody who was any political schmoozer here for that ribbon cutting, because people watched it because they said, well, if they'll do it for one, maybe they'll do it for another, but they don't, fortunately. So that's why you don't see a bunch of billboards all the way up and down Highway 395 coming from Los Angeles. You can still see the Eastern Sierra, because if that was private land, you'd have hotels and billboards from here to tomorrow. So we're getting ready to go. We're kicking the can over this weekend, and we've got a lot of grant money. We've got a lot of good people, and it's going to happen. It is going to happen. We have to expand. We have to expand. Thank you.